crash landing on the forbidden planet. Jake's hands shook as he fought the controls of his small spaceship. Sparks flew from the console. The ship was falling, fast. A strange energy had pulled him off course. The stars outside were spinning, and his AI system was screaming. Warning! Gravitational pull increasing. Planet is restricted. Do not enter. But it was too late. With a loud crash and a blinding flash, Jake's ship hit the surface of the unknown planet. When Jake opened his eyes, everything was silent. Smoke filled the air inside the cabin. He coughed, blinking hard. His seatbelt had saved him, but just barely. He reached for his helmet. The outside air could be toxic, but he had no choice. Oxygen in the cabin was leaking fast. He pushed the hatch open and stepped outside. The world before him was unlike anything he had ever seen. Blue vines twisted around tall black trees. The sky was greenish-yellow. Soft lights blinked on the ground like tiny stars. The air smelled, sweet but strange. Jake took slow steps, his boots sinking into soft moss. Suddenly his AI flickered back to life, weak and glitching. New transmission received. Playback. Do not trust her. She is not. Static. File corrupted. Jake frowned. Her? Who is she? Just then he heard something move. Leaves rustled nearby. A shadow passed between the trees. Jake reached for his blaster, but it was missing. He spun around, trying to find the source of the noise. Who's there? He called out. No answer. Then, a voice. Soft, calm, female. You are not safe here, stranger. The night is coming. Jake turned and saw her. She stood between two tall, glowing plants, half hidden by the shadows. Her skin was smooth and pale blue. Her eyes glowed silver. She wore something like a robe made of living vines. Her hair floated softly as if water surrounded her, even though the air was still. Jake froze. Who? What are you? I am Lyra, she said. Her voice was musical, but something about it made the back of Jake's neck prickle. You are not supposed to be here, she said. Jake tried to speak, but he was still stunned by her appearance. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her arms were too long. Her legs moved strangely, like they bent twice. I crashed here, Jake said slowly. I didn't choose this. Lyra tilted her head. Then you must leave before they find you. Who are they? Jake asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped forward, and for a moment the moonlight hit her from behind. Jake's eyes widened. Her body cast a strange shadow. It looked like she had an extra limb, or maybe a tail. He couldn't tell. He blinked, and the shadow shifted. It was gone. What was that? He asked. Lyra smiled, but it was not a comforting smile. You saw nothing, she whispered. It's safer that way. Before Jake could ask more, she turned and walked away into the glowing jungle. Hesitated. Follow her? Stay by the wreck? The jungle made strange noises. Creatures hissed in the distance. Jake looked back at his crashed ship. Smoke still rose from it. The comms were dead. No one was coming for him anytime soon. He looked in the direction. Lyra had gone. A faint trail of blue light followed her footsteps. With a deep breath, Jake followed her. They walked for what felt like an hour. The deeper they went, the weirder the forest became. Trees whispered in a language Jake couldn't understand. Floating lights hovered near his helmet. Finally, they reached a small cave. Lyra gestured for him to sit. Rest here. The night is not kind. Jake sat but couldn't stop staring at her. You're not fully human, he said. No, she replied calmly. But you're not an animal either. So what are you? Lyra looked away. I am something unfinished. Jake didn't know what to say. He tried to look at her again, more carefully this time. Her robe moved slightly, revealing a glimpse of her back. There, just for a second, he saw something strange, like a joint, a bump, something that didn't belong. He pointed. "Do you have 3?" Before he could finish, Lyra stood, quickly. "Sleep now," she said. "Do not ask questions you are not ready to hear answers for." Jake was confused, but exhausted. He lay down inside the cave, eyes still watching her from the corner. Outside, the jungle howled, and far away, something else answered back. "A third what?" Jake couldn't sleep. Even though the cave was warm and silent and his body begged for rest, his mind raced with questions. Who was Lyra? Why was she hiding something? And most of all, what was that thing on her back? He had seen it. A brief shadow, a bump, an outline, something unnatural, something extra. His AI's broken message echoed in his head. Do not trust her. Jake sat up quietly. Lyra was near the cave entrance, her back turned. She was humming a soft tune. The melody didn't sound human. It was haunting, almost sad. The glow of the forest touched her skin lightly, and there it was again, just barely visible under her robe, a small moving shape near her spine, not quite a tail, not quite a limb. Jake's heart pounded. He wasn't imagining it. Suddenly Lyra stopped humming. "I know you are watching," she said without turning. Jake stiffened. "You're hiding something," he said slowly. Lyra turned around, her glowing eyes calm. "Everyone hides something." Jake stood up. "What's on your back? What did I see?" Lyra sighed. For the first time, her expression changed. A crack in her calm mask. She stepped forward. "If I show you, you will never see me the same again." Jake hesitated, then nodded. "Show me." Lyra closed her eyes. Her robe unraveled, as if it were alive, revealing her bare back. Jake stepped closer. There, just between her shoulder blades, was a thin, vertical slit in her skin. It opened slowly like an eye, and something else unfolded. It wasn't human. It was a third arm. No, not quite. It looked like a flexible, bone-like limb, covered in soft blue tissue, ending in a 3-fingered hand. It moved gently like it had its own mind. Jake stepped back. "What is that?" Lyra's voice was quiet. "It is what I was born with, but it is not supposed to be there." Jake stared at her. "You mean others like you don't have it?" She nodded. "Only I do. That's why they call me broken." Jake's breath caught. "And who are they?" Lyra looked out into the jungle. Her voice turned cold. "The reformers." The jungle outside shifted. A strange humming sound echoed through the trees. Lyra quickly pulled her robe back on. "They are near." "Who are they?" Jake asked again. "They are the ones who control my kind," she said. "They destroy any form that isn't perfect, and I am a mistake." Jake frowned. "Why would they care about you?" "Because I was not created like the others," she said. "I was born naturally, not engineered. My third limb is a sign of something old, something forbidden." Before Jake could speak, a loud crack echoed outside. Lyra grabbed his arm. "We must move, now." They ran into the jungle, dodging glowing roots and hanging vines. Behind them, strange metallic footsteps followed. Machines? Soldiers? Suddenly, a high-pitched voice called out through the air. "Robotic. Cold. Subject 7B located. Third mutation detected. Capture alive. Kill the human." Jake froze. "They want me dead?" Lyra pulled him. "Because you've seen me. They can't let you leave now." They ran deeper into the forest. The ground sloped downward, leading into a darker region where the trees grew close together. The air felt heavier, wet, electric. "Where are we going?" Jake asked. "To the old place," Lyra said. where the first ones once lived. Jake's suit beeped, oxygen low, his vision blurred. I can't keep running. Lyra stopped beside a tall black structure half buried in vines. She placed her hand on a stone. A hidden door slid open. Inside was a small, dark chamber, metal walls covered in symbols. Alien writing glowed faintly. This place is hidden, she said. They cannot find us here. Not yet. Jake collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. Lyra knelt beside him. Her third limb extended again. This time, to press gently against his helmet. Instantly, Jake's oxygen level stabilized. He stared at her. You can control machines? Only small ones, she said. It's part of what makes me different. My limb, it's connected to things beyond this world. Jake was speechless. Lyra sat beside him, her face sad. You weren't supposed to see me. No human has ever come here. The moment you arrived, everything changed. Jake asked quietly. Why did you save me? She looked at him. Because you looked at me and didn't scream. Suddenly, the chamber walls began to shake. A blue light filled the room. Lyra stood up in alarm. No! They found us. Jake tried to stand, but a deep voice echoed all around them. Unit 7B, step forward. Surrender. The human will be erased. Lyra whispered. They won't stop, not until I'm gone. Jake looked at her. Then let's not give them what they want. She smiled faintly. You're brave. For someone who doesn't even know what you are. Jake blinked. What? I am? She touched his chest. You think I'm the only secret here? Jake's AI crackled in his ear suddenly. Emergency data unlock. Human subject, Jake Vera. Gene type, hybrid carrier. Warning, identity breach. Jake's eyes widened. What? Lyra stepped closer, her third limb gently wrapping around his arm. You think I'm different? She whispered. You are the reason I exist. The forbidden anatomy. Jake couldn't breathe, not because the air was thin, but because of the words he had just heard. Hybrid carrier. His name. His DNA. His identity. All of it suddenly felt unreal. I'm... What? Jake asked, his voice shaking. Lyra stood still, her glowing eyes watching him closely. Her third limb curled slowly behind her, sensing his rising fear. You were not just sent here by accident, she said softly. You were made for this place, for me. Jake shook his head. No, I'm just a pilot. I took a job. I crashed. Lyra stepped forward. No, Jake. You were the final part of something older. Something hidden even from you. The chamber lights flickered. The AI voice returned in a broken whisper. Jake Vera. Human class hybrid subject. Phase 3 gene seed. Detected. Jake staggered back. I don't understand. What does this mean? What phase? What gene seed? Lyra's voice turned quiet. Long ago, your kind came here. They made us, not with love but with fear. They built us with control in mind, but then something changed. Jake looked at her, lost. You mean humans created your species? Yes, she said. But not with hearts, with wires, with blueprints. My people were designed in your image, but better, stronger, controlled, Jake whispered. You were clones. Perfect ones. Until I was born. Not made. Born. Her hand touched her chest. Her third limb moved slowly, gently across the air like it was searching for something. Jake stared at it again. So this limb, it's not a mutation? No, Lyra said. It's a key. Outside the cave, the forest was silent. Too silent. Suddenly, a high-frequency pulse filled the air. Tracking failed. Subject cloaked. Activate purge protocol. Lyra gasped. They're going to wipe this area. Jake looked around. We have to leave. Lyra held up a hand. No, we go deeper. She placed her third hand against a wall. The stone melted. A hidden door opened, revealing a long tunnel, cold, metallic, covered in ancient symbols. Jake followed her down. His boots echoed against the strange metal floor. As they walked, strange visions appeared on the walls, glowing lights that moved like memories. One showed a man who looked like Jake, but older, wearing a white coat. Beside him was a younger Lyra, floating in a tank. Wires everywhere. Jake stopped. "That's me," Lyra nodded. "That was the man who gave me a name. His name was also Jake Vera, your ancestor, or your origin." Jake stared at the wall in silence. "I was the first to grow beyond their code," Lyra said. "I was not supposed to survive. My third limb, it connected to their system and rewrote my body." Jake looked at her, struggling to accept it all. "So what am I? A copy? A part of some experiment?" "You are the final phase," she said. "A hybrid of both worlds. Not fully human, not fully alien. That's why your DNA was in the system yet long before you were born." Jake felt dizzy. Everything he knew was falling apart. The tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. Huge machines stood in silence. At the center, a tall capsule pulsed with blue light. "This," Lyra said, "was the birthing pod, where I escaped." She stepped toward the capsule and touched it with her third limb. The lights inside flickered, then glowed brighter. Suddenly, the chamber rumbled. A voice spoke again. "Subject 7B in hybrid phase 3 detected." Final lockdown initiated. A large gate slammed shut behind them. Jake pulled his broken comm device. "I need to call for help." "There's no help," Lyra said. "They'll erase both of us." Jake stepped closer to the capsule. Inside, he saw something, moving. A shape, a small form, floating in the liquid. He gasped. "Is that?" Lyra nodded. "A prototype. A failed version of me. I left her behind when I escaped." The form looked like a child. Suddenly, alarms blared. Hole opened in the ceiling above them, and 3 tall figures dropped down. Silver armor, glowing helmets, long rifles in their hands. The reformers. "Target locked," one said. Jake stood in front of Lyra. "You'll have to go through me." One of the soldiers scanned him. The helmet paused. Phase 3 confirmed. Hybrid awakening incomplete. Orders updated. Jake's skin began to glow faintly. His pulse beat louder in his ears. Something inside him was waking up. The soldier raised his rifle. Lyra screamed, "Jake, your limb! Use it!" Jake looked at her, confused. "I don't have..." But then, his arm twitched. From behind his back, something sharp and silver unfolded. Long, thin, and alive. A third limb. His eyes widened. What the hell? The reformer fired, but Jake's third limb moved on its own, faster than his thoughts. It deflected the shot, grabbed the soldier by the throat, and slammed him against the wall. Jake fell to his knees. "What is happening to me?" Lyra ran to him, holding his shoulders. "You're waking up. You were built to match me. Together. We unlocked the last gate." Another soldier attacked, this time aiming at Lyra. Jake's third limb struck. Again. Faster, sharper, deadlier. Within seconds, the chamber was quiet again. Lyra helped Jake stand. "Now you see," she whispered. "You're not just the last phase, you're the other half of me." Jake looked at his strange new limb now folding back into his spine. "I'm not human anymore," he said. "No," Lyra said. "You're something new." From behind the capsule, a new voice spoke, soft, deep, and echoing with power. "Then the third has awakened." Jake and Lyra turned. A tall, ancient figure stepped into view. Not machine, not alien, not human. Something in between. Its face glowed with shifting patterns. Jake whispered, "Who are you?" The figure replied, "I am the one who failed to destroy you, Krea, and now I must finish what I began." "Why is everyone after her?" Jake stood frozen, his chest rising and falling with panic. The ancient figure before him was tall and silent. Its body shimmered with light, like glass filled with stars. Not machine, not alien, not entirely real. Lyra stepped between Jake and the figure, her third limb raised like a shield. The figure spoke again, its voice cold, calm, and echoing through the metal chamber. You were never supposed to survive. Neither of you. But now, you are too late to stop what comes next. Jake's voice trembled. Who are you? The figure replied, I am Archivist Zal, last guardian of the Origin Protocol. Jake looked at Lyra. What is that? Lyra's expression was grim. The Origin Protocol is what created my kind. It was hidden deep in the system, locked away. Zal was the one who watched over it and destroyed any mistakes. Jake stepped back. So, he's the one who tried to kill you? Yes, she whispered. And now he wants to erase us, both. Zal raised a long hand. The chamber lights dimmed. Holograms bloomed all around them. Scenes from the past. One showed a group of humans in white coats, scientists, engineers. Another showed Lyra's people in tanks, wires in their bodies, glowing eyes staring blankly. You were born from stolen flesh, Zal said. We took your design from human DNA, but it became unstable. Then came her. He pointed at Lyra. A creature born without instruction, with free will, and a third limb that reached into forbidden code. Jake interrupted. But why are you hunting her? She didn't choose this. Zal's eyes flickered. Because her existence proves the system is broken, and broken systems must be cleansed. Lyra's voice grew strong. I am not broken. I am evolution. Suddenly, the floor shook. From the shadows, more reformers appeared, sleeker, faster, deadlier. They surrounded Jake and Lyra. Jake turned to Lyra. We need to run. No, she said. We finish this. She stepped forward, her third limb stretching behind her like a weapon. Jake's own third limb twitched. Still unfamiliar, still terrifying. Zal raised his hand and the soldier stopped. I offer you a choice, Phase 3, he said to Jake. Leave her. Return to your kind. We will remove what we gave you. You will live as a man again. Jake hesitated. His heart pounded. His skin still burned from the last fight. He was changing, becoming something else, something he didn't understand. Then he looked at Lyra. She wasn't a monster. She had saved him. More than once. I'm not going back, Jake said. If she dies, I don't want to survive either. Zal's voice dropped to a whisper. Then, you choose extinction. The reformers moved in. Lyra screamed, not in fear but in fury. Her third limb lit up with energy, electricity arcing through the air. Jake moved beside her. His third limb reacted again, longer now, faster, glowing faintly with his pulse. Together, they fought. The chamber became chaos. Jake ducked and dodged as his new limb moved like it had its own mind. It slashed through armor, ripped apart weapons, protected him without commands. Lyra danced through the battle, fast, graceful, and deadly. Her limb moved like a second brain, disabling soldiers with surgical strikes. Zal watched calmly. You fight well, he said, but you cannot change. Your nature, you are a flaw, a glitch in the system, Jake growled. Then maybe the system needs to break. Suddenly, one of the capsule pods shattered. The small childlike version of Lyra fell out, coughing and blinking. Jake ran toward her and caught her just in time. Is she alive? He asked. Lyra nodded, tears in her eyes. She's me. But from before, she remembers nothing. Jake held the small girl. She looked up at him and touched his chest. Her tiny third hand flickered with light. Zal stepped forward, raising his arm for a final strike. But then, everything stopped. The air shimmered. The lights went white. A new voice entered the room. Female, strong, familiar. That is enough. Figure dropped from the ceiling, armored in light, wings made of pure energy, eyes bright like twin stars. Jake gasped. Who is that? Lyra whispered. I think that's the first. The first. The original being. The one from whom all of Lyra's kind had been copied. She looked at Zal. You disobeyed, she said. You tried to erase the future, but the future has already begun. Zal bowed his head. I followed protocol. You followed fear, she said. Now, stand down. Zal vanished into mist, like a ghost dismissed from time. Jake held the little clone close. Lyra stood beside him, shaking. The first looked at them both. You are the beginning of something new, she said. But others will not accept you, the humans and the ones who made them. Jake asked, what are we supposed to do now? The first smiled. Survive, grow, change the story. She stepped back, fading into light, and just like that, she was gone. The battle was over, but the war had just begun. Lyra walked up to Jake. Her hand touched his, all three of them. His third limb gently wrapped around hers. Jake whispered, I'm scared. She nodded. Me too. But they stood together, one human, one alien, both becoming something else. Behind them, the broken machines sparked, and deep underground. Something even older was waking up. He was part of the experiment. The silence after the battle was louder than the war. Jake sat beside the ruined pod, his heart pounding, arms wrapped around the little clone girl. Her small glowing eyes stared into his, filled with a strange innocence, and something deeper, something ancient. Lyra stood nearby, her body trembling, not from fear, but from the weight of everything that had just happened. She had seen death. Again, she had seen the first, the original, a being they believed was only myth, but the real storm was just beginning. They returned to the deep tunnel chamber. It was quiet now, cold, lit only by the pulsing blue veins that ran through the metal walls. Jake sat beside a control console. The AI from his suit buzzed weakly in his helmet. Warning, subject consciousness altered, vital signs unstable, gene phase 3 mutation in progress. Jake pressed his hands to his head. I can feel it, he whispered, like something crawling under my skin. Lyra came close. Her voice was gentle. It's your body changing. The fusion has begun. It's slow at first, but irreversible. He looked up at her. What am I changing into? She didn't answer, because she didn't know. Later, when the clone girl fell asleep curled beside Lyra, Jake found another part of the chamber, a sealed archive door. He placed his hand on it. Surprisingly, it responded, scanning his skin, his blood, his thoughts, access granted. Inside was a holographic chamber, bright, clean, untouched by time. In the center, a large screen flickered to life. A man appeared, tall, in a white coat. Jake froze. It was him. No, not him. Older, grayer, more tired. The man spoke. If you're watching this, then you've awakened. My name is Dr. Jacob Vera. You are my echo, my risk, my last card in a game I was never meant to win. Jake's hands trembled. Lyra appeared behind him, silently watching. The recording continued. Decades ago, I worked on Project Ascension. We tried to merge human biology with ancient alien DNA. The goal was to evolve, to protect Earth, but we made a mistake. In the screen flashed images. Broken clones, bodies, failures. We created them. Lyra's kind, beautiful, strong, but too aware, too real. The man sighed. The system rejected free will. They created the reformers to purify the species. Lyra was the last born naturally. She escaped, she learned, she changed. The screen zoomed in on Lyra's face, years younger, floating in a glass tank. Jake looked at her. She looked away. Then the final line came. So I created you. Not a clone, not a machine, a seed. You were born human, but with a code inside, hidden, sleeping, until you touched her. Jake stepped back, his mouth dry. Lyra whispered, You're the last hybrid. The hologram ended. The room fell dark again. Jake collapsed to his knees. I'm not real. I'm just a weapon. Lyra knelt beside him. No, you're not a weapon. You're a choice. You chose to protect me. That's what makes you real. He looked at her. But what if I lose control? What if the code takes over? She touched his face. Then I'll remind you who you are. Suddenly, the alarm blared. Incoming signal. From Earth. Jake's AI buzzed to life. Connecting to United Human Command. Secure line established. Jake frowned. Earth? How? A voice spoke through the speakers. Sharp. Military. This is Commander Rains of Earth Fleet. Pilot Jake Vera, if you are alive. We know what you are. And we need you. Jake and Lyra looked at each other. Return immediately. We will extract you. But do not bring the alien. She is classified as a level black threat. Jake's jaw clenched. Another voice cut in. Hidden, broken, almost like a whisper behind the military message. Don't trust them. They lied. They built you to destroy her, not save her. The signal ended. Silence again. Lyra stepped back. So, now you know. Jake stood slowly. They made me to kill you, not protect you. Lyra didn't speak, but her eyes said everything. Jake took a long breath. And I think part of me still wants to. Lyra flinched, just slightly. But I won't, Jake said, because I'm not them and neither are you. They packed quickly. They had to leave the chamber. The Earth signal would lead others here and maybe more reformers, maybe worse. They moved through the ruined jungle in silence. The clone girl rode on Jake's back, her tiny hands wrapped around his neck. Jake felt different, stronger, quicker, his senses sharper. The air smelled like static. The stars above seemed closer. He wasn't fully human anymore, and he didn't know if he wanted to be. As they reached the cliff edge, they saw it. A large black ship, descending from the clouds. Earth design, military grade and not alone. Behind it, 2 more ships, sleek, silent, alien. Lyra whispered, both sides are coming, human and reformer. Jake nodded. They all want us. And if they catch us? She asked. They'll erase us both, he said. She turned to him. What do we do now? Jake looked at the horizon. I think it's time. We stop running. The 3 of them, human, alien, and the hybrid child, disappeared into the forest shadows, and high above, warships circled. But something else, something deeper, had already been awakened below the surface of the planet. An ancient code. One last system. Waiting for the 3rd to make a choice. The truth about the 3rd one. The sky above them was no longer empty. It was watching. Black Earth Fleet warships hovered in the upper atmosphere, casting long shadows across the jungle floor. Beside them, ghost-silent alien vessels, sleek, sharp, living metal, floated like hunting animals waiting for a signal to strike. Jake could feel both in his blood. His body responded to each signal, each frequency. His 3rd limb twitched even when he was still. He wasn't just being tracked. He was being called. Lyra walked beside him through the ruins of a long-dead city, ancient stone mixed with alien tech. The clone girl slept on Jake's back, her pulse glowing faintly like a small star. Jake looked around. What was this place? Lyra ran her fingers across a wall covered in glowing patterns. This was the core, where the first designs were written, where my kind was coded. She pointed at a symbol glowing brighter than the others, a spiral with 3 points. Jake touched it. The wall responded. A door opened. Behind it was something alive. They entered a wide underground dome where a single massive structure pulsed like a heart, glowing veins spreading through the floor. Jake stepped closer. It's organic, he said. No, Lyra replied. It's more than that. It's a living AI. She walked toward the core. This is the origin mind. It was made by the ones who created your ancestors, and mine. Jake's eyes narrowed. You're saying this created humans? Lyra shook her head. Not exactly, but it shaped us both, long before humans reached the stars. Jake stared at the pulsing core. Why did it stop? It didn't, said a voice from nowhere. The air shimmered and a projection appeared, a figure neither male nor female. It shifted constantly, made of light and thought. Subject Jake Vera. Phase 3 hybrid. We have been waiting. Jake's throat tightened. Who are you? We are the protocol that was locked away, the final phase of evolution, rejected by human leaders, hidden by alien architects, forbidden by both. Jake's chest burned. What is the third? It is not a what, it is a when. He blinked. A when? The AI's voice echoed in his mind. The third is the point in time when two incomplete species join to become one complete existence. Jake took a step back. You mean me and Lyra? Correct. You are both bridges, one of blood, one of code. Your union rewrites the future. Lyra's eyes widened. That's why they hunted me. That's why they made you. Jake was trembling now. So what happens if we don't join? Then both species will collapse. You are the repair. The third is not just evolution. It is salvation. Suddenly alarms echoed through the chamber. The projection shifted violently. Warning, interference from external networks. Earth Command and Reformer Fleet have breached planetary skywall. Full convergence imminent. Jake's AI crackled in his ear. Earth Command override initiated. Subject Jake Vera, you are ordered to return to Fleet Command. If you refuse, you will be terminated. A new voice followed. Mechanical, colder than death. Reformer directive activated. Target. Be in hybrid anomaly to be erased. Execute cleanse. The origin mind faded. The room shook. Lyra's face went pale. They've both found us. Human forces. Alien reformers. They've joined forces to stop the merge. Jake stepped in front of her. Because they're afraid. Lyra nodded. Not of us. Of what will become. Outside the temple, the sky ripped open with light. A massive human dropship slammed down into the jungle clearing. Armored troops poured out, weapons humming. From the trees, reformer soldiers, silver, fast, glowing, emerged like wolves. And then, silence. Jake and Lyra stepped out holding the clone girl. The two armies stood across from each other, both aiming at the same target. Jake. Jake Vera, barked the Earth Commander through a loudspeaker. Surrender the alien and the hybrid. Your cooperation ensures your survival. Lyra's third limb curled tightly behind her, protective. Jake looked at both armies, then raised his voice. No. Both sides stiffened. Jake took Lyra's hand. His third limb reached out and touched hers. Neither of you deserve control, he shouted. You tried to use us, erase us, program us, but we're not your machines. He looked at Lyra. We're something new, something you can't predict, something you can't stop. Their limbs merged, lit by energy so bright it turned night into day. A pulse shot out from their bodies, across the forest, through the ships into the sky. Soldiers screamed. Machines collapsed. Weapons failed. Jake and Lyra floated above the ground, surrounded by light. Their minds linked. Time bent. The third had begun. In that moment, every living creature on the planet, human, alien, machine, felt something in their minds. A question, not spoken, but understood. Will you evolve? Or die clinging to control? And above it all, watching from space. The true creators stirred. Not human, not alien, but something even older. Now awakened by the impossible truth. The third was real, and it had already chosen its path. Becoming something new. The sky was burning. Earthships spiraled out of control, crashing into trees. Reformer soldiers screamed as their neural implants overloaded. Weapons failed. Satellites blinked out. Static filled every frequency, and at the center of it all stood two figures, Jake and Lyra. Their hands were locked. Their third limbs merged into a glowing helix of living light, twisting with energy not from one world, but two. The third had awakened. Jake's body no longer felt like his own. It was light, memory, thought. He saw the forest, not with his eyes, but with his pulse. He could feel Lyra beside him, inside him, her heartbeat, her fear, her hope. Lyra was calm, but crying. Not tears of sadness and tears of release. Her mind whispered into his. We're not just merging. We're becoming everything. They rose above the jungle as a beam of light spiraled up from them into the sky, piercing clouds, breaking the atmosphere. And far beyond, something answered. Deep in the void between galaxies, a silent signal blinked awake. A colossal shape shifted in the blackness. Not ship, not life form, not God origin. The true creators, long thought dead, stirred. A voice, older than time itself, spoke in a tongue that didn't use words, but Jake understood. You were not meant to awaken the third. Back on the planet, both armies, humans and reformers, stood frozen, weapons forgotten. The jungle moved around them, no longer wild but aware. The Earth commander screamed orders through a broken comm. Fire everything. Bring them down. Missiles launched, but before they could strike, the forest itself rose up. Vines turned to steel, roots glowing with heat. Every weapon was caught, turned, and deconstructed mid-air. No violence would succeed now. The world itself had changed. Inside, the beam of light Jake and Lyra were suspended in memory. Together they watched every life their species had destroyed, every experiment, every clone discarded, every truth buried under orders and silence. Jake gritted his teeth. All this time, they lied to both of us. Lyra nodded. But now, we choose what's next. Suddenly, the child, the small clone, appeared in the light between them. She wasn't just a failed version. She was a seed, both Lyra's past and their possible future. She looked at them, eyes glowing. Are you ready? She asked. The light began to collapse inward, not shrinking, but compressing into something dense and new. Jake turned to Lyra. We can remake everything. Right here. Right now. Lyra's voice was quiet. But we'll lose ourselves. Jake looked at the soldiers below, all afraid, all trying to control what they didn't understand. Then he looked at the child, and then at the stars. No, he whispered. We won't lose ourselves. We'll become who we were meant to be. They let go, not of each other, but of fear. The spiral of their third limbs tightened one last time, then exploded. Not in destruction, but creation. A shockwave of light erupted across the planet. Machines shut down. Cities stopped. Clouds glowed with blue fire. Time itself paused, then moved forward, but different, faster, smarter, alive. When the light faded, Jake and Lyra were gone, but something stood in their place. A being of flesh and light, not male, not female, not alien, not human, just new. Eyes like galaxies, skin like starlight, a third limb, now fully integrated, moving with grace and will. The armies dropped their weapons, because they knew they had lost, not to violence but to evolution. The new being spoke, not with sound but with thought that echoed across all minds. You tried to split us, divide us, control us, but you failed. You feared the third, because you couldn't understand it. Now it understands you. The Earth commander fell to his knees. The reformer soldiers shut down, hollow eyes fading. The world around them softened. Trees returned, the skies cleared, the weapons rusted in minutes. The war was over. Far in space, the ancient creators watched, and for the first time in eternity, they did not interfere, because they too knew. The third was beyond them now, and it had rewritten the code of existence. Epilogue. Years later, the world was different. No borders, no wars, no pure humans, no pure aliens. Just them, the new kind. Hybrids of thought and nature, and in every city, every home, a symbol shone softly. The spiral with 3 points. The mark of the third. The ones who became something new, not to conquer, but to heal.